Welcome back, you guys. Don't mind this shirt. I just got off of work. All right, so this is my ghostly blog update. I know I missed a week, and unfortunately, I'm going to be missing next week too. Only because, okay, before I start hearing it from everybody, you all know I've been really busy, but I am adding into my schedule the state fair. So that's right, we have the Minnesota State Fair going on right now. I am a huge advocate for the state fair. I go every year, and I make my boyfriend go, and you know, they all don't like it, but it doesn't matter, okay? You're going anyways. So I am going to the state fair, and I'm going for the whole day. I'm going to get drunk, I'm going to eat a lot of food, and I'm just going to forget about all the stress I have. All right, but that's next week. Today, we're going to talk about this week, which I did write it down, so I'm going to be looking at it to remind myself because literally I've been busting 9-hour days, and then I go home and I have a drink and I take a 2-hour test, okay? So I need to write this down to remember things. Oh, and I do have a ghostly update. I'm going to write it down right now before I forget it. And then I end the video. Ghostly update. All right. So our very first question, this comes from an individual who is dating people outside of their race. And they're asking me basically if you're somebody who is supposed to be a shaman. So this individual is not yet a shaman. Are you allowed to date people outside of your race? And they also believe that their relationships keep failing because they are not with somebody who is the same race as them. Now, I'm just going to let you guys know that that's not true. And I know, like, the whole ordeal with your guides may not like your relationships and they'll ruin it. It could be with somebody in your race too, okay? They could ruin that too. Now, I will say this from my own experience, having, you know, when I was a shaman, all that great jazz, dating is terrible. Okay, we all know I did my dating video. Dating is terrible. Like, granted, I'm like a really hard person to love. Like, I'm really hard, like, all right. So, okay, I'm like trying to word this so I don't sound like a terrible person, but I am not a great person to date. You know, I'm that person where my family's like, oh my God, how do you put up with her? Like, I am that person. So I'm going to say this, that your guides are purposely testing people in your life. They purposely test you, you and them. So it's basically because they're showing you things that you may be oblivious to, that you may be absolutely blind to, but you can't say it's because of them. If anything, they're helping you, okay? Like, imagine you're with them for like 5 years and then you find out all this terrible stuff. Things for me happen very, very fast. Like, there's this favorite saying of mine that, like, when is it okay to show a guy you're crazy? And the answer is you show a guy or a girl you're crazy when they're too in love with you to leave you. You know, so I show it very early on. Okay, like, if it ain't obvious by now, I am a very aggressive individual. So I don't hide things that are on my mind that, you know, like I'm thinking of, that I'm planning, and etc. And I'm a very, like, I like to look far into the future, plan things well in advance. So I will put people through all sorts of ringers right away. Like, there is no, like, no, I'm not hungry. No, I'm hungry. Like, right now. Like, I was hungry the minute I walked in. Like, you would have already known I was hungry before we actually met. Okay, so, you know, like, and I understand not everybody is like that. So what I'm trying to say here is that I don't always date people who are the same race as me. And that's perfectly okay, because I have dated guys who are the same race as me and it still didn't work out. So it's not a thing about race. It is about an individual who will accept you wholly, spiritually, everything. That is the individual you're supposed to be with. So again, way back when I started, dating is terrible, okay? Like, it will test you like nothing else. Okay, maybe children, but dating is terrible, and everything that you go through, you're meant to go through it. Yeah, it sounds cliche, but it's the truth, because your guides want to prepare you for the best. They're not going to want you to fail. They may give you a ton of signs, and you may be a stubborn person and be like, I don't care, I'm going to be with this person anyways. You're still going to suffer later on, but they still try to warn you. So when you are a spiritually inclined person, you know, regardless of what your ability is, There will be clear signs regarding the person you're dating. So you could be with somebody, and I know a lot of people who are like this, for years, but you guys won't take the leap. You won't get married. You won't move in. You're still in the back of your mind looking for something else. That's it. Okay, like people who are in relationships for like 10 years and they're like, no, I'm not ready. I'm too young. No, you're looking for something else. Okay, like that is the bottom line. It's when you guys, and I'm not saying, you know, like, and the thing is, I don't even agree with marriage. Okay? Like, y'all finding all sorts of stuff out about me today. Long story here. It doesn't matter what race you're dating. It doesn't matter. You could be with a man. You could be with a woman. It doesn't matter. And if it's illegal in your country, age does matter. Okay, so all I'm saying, though, is your guides test the people around you. It is not because of them, because you're dating somebody who, etc., etc., you think your guides don't like, because of something else, okay? Most of the times it's more than that. They want you to be accepted. And so my next question is that regarding shamans and food at funerals and stuff like that, that's only certain types of shamans that would affect. So if you're not the kind of shaman where it would bother them, then they can eat food at the funeral home. I cannot eat food at a funeral home. I will actually go into a lot of physical pain if I go into funeral homes, unless I do all sorts of magical jazz before I go. So that all depends on the shaman. Not every shaman is like that, though. But typically the type of shamans who can't eat food at funeral homes is because the food is seen as unclean and it's actually given to the dead. So that's why they won't eat. Like, I remember my teacher, she would go to funeral homes, like, you know, pay their respects, and then they would go to a buffet. And then they would come back to the funeral home. So, you know, that's typically what those type of shamans would do. Oh yeah, gong and pitches. Oh, and it's really funny because, you know, you guys know how I'm moving from my apartment. I left my shaman tools out and then they had a showing at my apartment. And I remember they texted me too. And I only come to this place like once or twice a week. And that's it. And I don't come back here, right? So they were like, oh, you know, blah, blah. We're going to come show people, blah, blah. I was like, oh, yeah, that's fine. And then I was like, yeah, my shaman tools will be out. They might think it's something kind of crazy, but whatever. It was just sitting out. But anyways, the whole question was about gongs and the sound of it. Because they were saying, they were asking something about like male and females and certain types of gongs. So the whole gong thing, and your teacher will tell you this too when you start to go and select your own tools if you end up becoming a shaman. And you know, shamans, even after they get like their beginning instruments, it's just like anything else. As you become wealthier, you'll go out and get more tools, and you will get bigger gongs and different types of gongs. So you can't, it's not like you can only have one gong. You can have like as many gongs as you want. So the whole thing with a gong, though, and male and female, that's actually about the sound. So, you know the whole saying, like, pick the one that speaks to you, okay? It's really, in layman terms, the one that sounds the best to you. So what you want to do is when you go and look at a bunch of gongs, you want to hit them all. Literally, just go around banging all these gongs because you're trying to hear the sound. And then the sound that you like the most, even if you don't understand what you're looking for, just the sound, it's just like when you listen to music and you really like a song because it's like something you like. So that's the gong you want to choose. You just want to go ahead around and just hit all these gongs, and then the noise that the gong makes, and it's the best one, just go with that one. It doesn't matter. Well, typically, yeah, it doesn't matter like the color or the size or anything like that. Just go with the sound. Oh, and then our last set of questions before we go into my ghostly update. So I was asked about, this individual was like basically saying, if I'm supposed to be a full-fledged shaman, but I just want to be those who look at cards and look into the future. Like, they don't want to do the whole ceremony thing. Can they choose to just be that kind of shaman? You are free to do whatever you want on your own spiritual journey. The consequences, though, are also all on you. It's not going to affect anybody else. So basically what I'm trying to say to you, if you don't get it, if you basically only want to be a part of who you truly are, the other part of you will feel that they're not accepted. And you may face depression. And it's basically you only accept half of you, or you had twins and you only like one over the other. That is basically the same theory. So yeah, if that's all you want to practice, what I would recommend, okay, that's how you're going to get away with it. What I would recommend is you raise your full shrine as the full potential you're supposed to be, but then only taking clients for what you want, basically. That's how you'll be able to achieve it without the dead side that I'm referring to. Does that make sense? Now, another person asked basically, is there such a thing as shamans who are raised purely to be demon slayers? Because they've heard stories that some shamans will hide from things versus just attacking it and taking care of it, okay? Yes, that is also very possible too. So there are shamans who will never have any clairvoyant abilities, and I swear I've mentioned these things, but you know, I don't blame you if you haven't seen all my videos, and we talk about a lot of things. But anyways, so yes, there are going to be shamans specifically who were raised strictly to slay demons. That's it. And that's okay. That is absolutely possible. Now, as far as like abilities and everything like that, you know, we've talked about that. It depends on the individual, what kind of abilities they're going to have. So, you know, not everybody will have those type of skills to kill demons, and they will choose to run away. They will choose to call on a god to fix it for them versus handling it themselves. And so, you know, that just goes hand in hand with everybody has different abilities. So that is possible as well. Oh, and then before we go into my ghostly update, one last thing I want to add. So I had somebody ask me, like, how do I cope, like, with seeing things? Oh, and by the way, on my Tassie Eats page, I went out to eat at Chianti Grill, and I saw the ghost in the bathroom, and I forgot about the ghost in the bathroom. But anyways, because it's been years since I've been back to Chianti Grill, and you guys can read that story on my Facebook page. But anyways, it tied in with my question. They were wondering, like, how do I cope with seeing ghosts and being around these kind of things? Like, how do I handle it? And my short answer is basically that it's been happening since I was a kid. So I've been conditioned to it. You know, it's, I mean, just imagine you being a kid and you are there alone with a ghost or even a demon who's like trying to hurt you and trying to taunt you. But you know, nobody can save you. Nobody. So you have to survive on your own. So that's exactly what it was like. You know, it was, you know, I think because I've conditioned myself and because of the abilities that I'm supposed to be a shaman and all the great jazz that happens, it was just something that didn't affect me in a way where I was going to mentally break, you know, because it's like, even though, yeah, technically you're alone in this room, it's like all this knowledge and all this information was coming to me, but I didn't really know how to, like, basically you don't know how to put it into words. You can't form it, you know, because I was so young. I wasn't even in school yet, like even not even in kindergarten or preschool or whatever. And so it was just, you couldn't, but you could understand it without forming it into words. So it was like, yeah, I could see the ghost. Yeah, I can see the demon. Yeah, they're talking to me and bugging me. But at the same time, there was something also extra that was there that was like, oh, it's okay. They're actually not going to hurt you, or they can't hurt you, like kill you. They're going to just try to hurt you in other ways, but you'll survive, basically. So it was, that was like kind of like the whole thing that I went through. So now as an adult, having gone through so many of those experiences, you can get it right away, like, what it is, like are you being faced against, and what are your options, and how strong is it, and what is its intent. But it's all from experience. So yeah, that's kind of hard to explain for other people who are probably going through similar experiences. And you know, I actually have like people who are adults and they're basically like katenga. So that means in Hmong, they're very like cocky, arrogant, like they want to show off and they want to hunt for a ghost. Like they're going to catch them with their bare hands, okay? So go for it, man, if you are that interested. But the thing is, when something like actually happens to them, they freak out and they don't know how to handle it, you know? So it's like, don't go looking for things, you know? It's just, if you happen to be a person like me where you don't do anything and they're just standing there looking at you, you know, it's like you end up learning this coping mechanism on how to handle it, because you can't let them control your life and you'll go crazy. So that's going to lead us to our ghostly update. And this is about Oscar. So Oscar is my boyfriend's chubby cat. So technically Oscar is actually my boyfriend's mom's cat. But she really just got him so that their dog would have like somebody to play with so that they wouldn't be lonely. But really, Oscar lives with us a lot. So at night, you know, like we'll bring him downstairs in the evening and he'll hang out with us all night. He'll sleep over all night. And then in the morning, when I go to work, I feed him and all that great jazz and I bring him back up. Now, here's the thing though. So my boyfriend, and this was just this morning, I was sleeping and then I felt my alarm kick off. So I hit snooze and then I felt the bed move. Like, you know, like when a cat jumps on the bed. And if none of you guys know what that's like, it's basically just something really light that's like 15 pounds jumps onto the bed. Okay, like I don't know how to explain it. But anyways, I felt it kind of move, right? And then I made space on the bed because like Oscar doesn't sleep with me a lot because I move a lot in my sleep. So I was making all this space and I was moving over so that he would have a lot of space to like crawl. Because in the morning when my alarm goes off, he comes to beg for turkey. I give him turkey. And so I was waiting for him to come up to my face, right? And then nothing happened and I fell asleep again. And then my snooze went off again and I got up. So I'm up, I'm getting ready. I'm looking around. I don't see Oscar. So then my boyfriend comes over and I'm like, where's Oscar? And he was like, oh, I brought him up last night. And I'm like, what? I was like, but this morning I felt something laying on the bed and it felt like it was Oscar. And then he looks at me and I swear to God, it's like he forgets that like I can sense ghosts and see them. Cause then he was like looking around the house like, where are you, Oscar? Did I forget to bring you upstairs? He is like looking and looking and I'm looking at my boyfriend like, what are you doing? Like that's not what I meant. And then like, he was like, no, Oscar's not here. Like, I swore I brought him up last night. I was like, you probably did. Okay. So the whole point of the story is that I'm telling my boyfriend he cannot have Oscar sleep over anymore because now if I feel that on the bed again, I'm just going to start kicking. And I don't want to accidentally kick my real cat. So that's my ghostly update. The other one's on my Facebook page and Tassie Eats, but that was about the bathroom and the ghost at Chianti Girl. All right, you guys, enough rambling for tonight. That is it for this week. I am sorry I won't do a video next week, but I will see you guys in September.